Hi, I'm Michelle Wallig. I'm a Principal Program Manager here at Microsoft in the Azure Data SQL Server team, and I'm in charge of machine learning services. Today's topic is SQL Extensibility Architecture in the Machine Learning Platform. Over the next 20 minutes, I will share the extensibility architecture and what that looks like. We'll go over how to actually create a custom language extension using your own Python and R, how to leverage all the capabilities that SQL Server provides to you, and then some additional resources you may want to have. So the agenda, I'm going to spend a few minutes on the evolution of the architecture itself, how the language extensions came to be, and how the scoring features in particular around data science evolved in SQL Server. I'm going to move into how you actually write a custom language extension, demonstrate that using a fraud detection database, and then wrap up with some key features that you should be aware of and resources. In 2016, the SQL Extensibility architecture was developed after the acquisition of Revolution Analytics by Microsoft. We needed a way to have you use that R language within Revolution Analytics. And so we created the Launchpad with an R launcher that allows you to create satellite processes around applying your R models that you built in your R package against your SQL Server. So being able to create your models, score your models, train your models, and deploy your models, all within the capabilities of SQL Server. So R services was your initial package, but it also gave you the capabilities that came with SQL Server itself, such as the security isolation, resource governance, and performance counters. When we fast forward to 2019, we used a similar architecture, but this time we extended the R launcher to a common launcher, realizing that there would be other data science languages that would be required for machine learning. We created a new extension host, EXE, that allowed you to use that new extension, external language extension, against your SQL Server in a similar way as before. With that, we added additional features such as permissions integration for highly securing your data, isolation using app container, preventing impersonators to bring in or hack your database, as well as other features such as package management. And right now we have a preview of a new UX using Azure Data Studios. Over the years, the evolution of language extensions, as I mentioned, first started with R in 2016. So in your stored procedure SPI here, you can refer to your R language through this architecture on the top. And then a year later, Python was becoming very strong language used for machine learning purposes. So with our extendable architecture, we were able to add the Python EXEs that you could use. And then recently, we updated the architecture so that it's available on both Windows and Linux, and released the Java extension. Now, the language SPI here on the bottom really is to introduce the concept of future languages that will become important in data scientists besides these three. Now, how do you write a custom language extension? Here's a link to the documentation that you can use for the Extensibility Framework API for SQL Server. It will have all the instructions, the syntax, the arguments for each of these items on the right. Please take time to review the article when you're writing your language extension. So I'm going to show you an example of a fraud detection model, and then I'm going to talk about what you would need to do to change it in order to use an external language extension that you create. This is a Python example. So this is a typical Python example where we're using the fraud detection database. I'm using my existing Python that comes with SQL Server. So SQL Server Machine Learning Services already comes with R and Python. And then later I'm going to show you how to actually use your own R and Python that you might want to leverage instead of what comes with SQL Server. So here we are, you can use this example as well to test out that feature. Here we're bringing in our variables, defining our label columns, executing the B tree algorithm, serializing the model, and so we can store it in the table. I want to train and score my model. Then I'm going to just review the model here as I do my data discovery, and then use the model to predict the probability of a transaction being fraudulent. Now, in order to use your own language extension, you'll first need to create that within that SQL. You'll need to create a language extension, give it a name, bring in your language extension from the content on your location, give it a file name from the file name of the DLL that exists that you want to use. And then when you actually execute that SPEES, you're going to refer to that new language extension. I want to speak a little bit about model scoring and the evolution of that as a key feature. So in 2016 and 2017, when we built the extensibility framework, it was really just to leverage the available R and Python and machine learning services. Then we also added real-time scoring CLR extension through the store procedure RxPredict, so that you could use your standard packages of R, use any extended algorithms from R, as well as for Python. Those are shown here. And then in 2017, we added native scoring for the C++ extension. On the right here are the examples you can review for your own use. So for the key features for 2019, we really focused again on security, a lot of items around permissions, leveraging SQL Server's own data security model for your logins and your roles that would then extend to that external language that you are using. We also achieve isolation through app containers so that you can actually use your specific extension-specific launcher the same way that you would normally in SQL Server. And then implied authentication will also work for that external script, external language script, and here's the architecture for that here below. So I want to thank you for your time today. Here are some other resources that I wanted to share with you. Some more information about machine learning. There's a lot of examples here, as well as more documentation. We have SQL workshops. There's a folder called Machine Learning folder where you can actually review some additional Python notebooks that you can execute. We have a preview right now called Machine Learning on Managed Instance. And so please sign up for the preview if you're interested. This will allow you to run your machine learning services within a managed cloud instance, Azure SQL managed instance, and leverage the power of the cloud. And then if you're interested in the documentation for the API for the extensibility framework, you can find it here. Please reach out to me if you have any questions or want to learn more about machine learning for your own projects. Have a great day, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.